Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. I have your questions today from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag NoDQturns20. First one today comes from Garrett Mills. At least one TV network is interested in bidding for Wrestlemania rights, Mania for free on TV. Do you see this ever happening with any pay-per-view? I think that there is a realistic chance that one day Wrestlemania will be for free on television, just like the Super Bowl. If the money is right, if WWE can make enough money from it, I could definitely see WrestleMania being given away for free with all the advertising. How will people subscribe to the network deal with that? That remains to be seen, but it feels like the landscape is changing. With the amount of money that Fox is reportedly paying for Smackdown and what USA Network is paying to retain Monday Night Raw, we could see the landscape of WWE change significantly. And I don't know about the other pay-per-views. I think that those would probably stay on the network to keep the network subscribers happy. But WrestleMania, one day, I could see on the network with commercials, and WWE will be in a new era when it comes to events. People will have to adapt to the change, of course. With WrestleMania being for free on television, that means a lot of ads. That means commercial breaks during big matches. It's something I feel a lot of us will have to deal with and just go with the flow, and hopefully the quality of the show will remain intact. I know for some people having the interruptions, some people don't even like the pre-show matches having commercials. So imagine a match that you've been waiting for several months, and you're watching that match at WrestleMania and there's commercials. I could see it taking some adjusting for people. But nothing is definite yet. If it does happen, I think it's still at least a few years away. Got this one here from Andre. How would you book a Dean Ambrose heel turn? Maybe salute Seth Rollins and then hit him with the DD. I think it's the Dirty Deeds. I'm trying to remember. I'm not exactly sure. And then make the match for the IC title. I do like the idea of Dean Ambrose turning heel. I've been saying this for a very long time. I also like the idea of Dean Ambrose feuding with Seth Rollins for the IC title. I think I suggested this a while ago. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but I think for NoDQ 1000, when I did the video with my WrestleMania fantasy card, I think I had Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins with Ambrose as a heel. Now, I would not bring him back as a heel right off the bat. When he comes back, fans will pop for him. I think you should bring him back as a face and then gradually build up towards a heel turn. Maybe WWE could do a storyline where Ambrose comes back and he's not quite succeeding at his previous level. He's struggling to win matches, and that could play into the storyline where he's just slowly losing his mind. Think of Bret Hart, 1996, when Bret came back. Bret came back, did his big interview, but then he started losing matches. He lost the In Your House match against Sid. Then he lost the Rumble. Then he lost the title after winning it at the Final Four pay-per-view. And Bret was just going off the deep end slowly but surely. I think a storyline like that with Dean Ambrose would work really nicely. Just have him go on a little bit of a losing streak. Have him win some matches, but just have him getting screwed and various things happening, and he ends up blaming Seth Rollins for it. and the two of them have their big falling out. That's what I would do. Something along the lines of Bret Hart's slow heel turn in 96/97. This one comes from Joshua. Do you think it's sad that all these WWE superstars have to defend Roman Reigns, but all the other faces of WWE haven't needed other superstars to defend them? WWE right now, 2018, I mean, really in any era of WWE, guys that value their jobs are going to defend the company they work for. You would think in any walk of life, even if you disagree with a company policy or a company direction, you do not want to lose your job. So you're going to say what you're told to say. And I think that that's the way it is right now with Roman Reigns. I feel like The Miz and Braun Strowman and everyone else, when they're asked about Roman Reigns, they are going to give the corporate answer. They're not going to say, oh, Roman Reigns sucks and WWE is stupid for not turning him heel. The guys that work in WWE value their jobs too much. They're not going to risk offending somebody, risk losing their push. And I think there's more pressure now than ever because WWE is in such a dominating position financially that there's not a whole lot of options. Now, granted, the indie scene is doing well, but at the same time, I don't think these guys are going to go out of their way to say something that will offend the company. If this was 1997, it could be a different story, but 2018, all bets are off. Got this one here from Boogeyman79. Do you think if Roman Reigns moved to Smackdown, do you think Seth Rollins would be the new top dog? Probably. And for all we know, Seth Rollins might end up being the top dog with Roman Reigns still around. I noticed on Raw this week with Michael Cole, again, he referred to Seth Rollins as red hot, and the announcers keep making a big deal out of that. Makes me think maybe there is a chance that we see Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar with Seth Rollins going over and being the guy to finally dethrone Lesnar. And going back to the previous video I did, I made the mistake. Well, I forgot about Battleground 2015. I remembered vaguely that they had a match. I just wasn't sure which pay-per-view. It's been a while. It's been 3 years, and I think with Seth Rollins having the momentum as a babyface now, that maybe he is the guy. Maybe he's the right person to defeat Lesnar, because with the way the storyline has gone with Reigns, just doesn't really work for me. Although I'm not sure that Reigns winning period works for a lot of people. But at least if Reigns had won at WrestleMania, it would have made sense that Reigns made this big comeback after losing. Remember, SummerSlam last year, Reigns took the fall in that Fatal 4-Way match. So WrestleMania would have been his redemption. But now he lost at WrestleMania. He lost at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and WWE even botched that finish. I think they got to go in a different direction now. Reigns coming back after all this and winning just doesn't work as a story. It's really weak. So yeah, I think there's a realistic chance that Rollins becomes the top guy, even if Reigns doesn't go to SmackDown next year when SmackDown moves to Fox. This next one comes from the Forgot 10-1. Very clever there. Hey Aaron, love the show. If the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega ever do sign with WWE, do you think that they would go to NXT or jump straight to the main roster like AJ Styles did in his debut? Great question, and I think that it would depend on what they would want to do. AJ Styles was an exception to the rule, but AJ had a lot of experience. I think Cody for sure would go to the main roster. Keep in mind, Drew McIntyre went back to NXT, but Drew McIntyre needed to reestablish himself. If Cody stays red hot, I don't know if he needs to go back through NXT. I think Cody Rhodes would be in a position where he could be brought straight to the main roster. You look at somebody like Luke Gallows, who had a previous run. He came straight to the main roster. I could see it happening with all those acts because of their success, because they're considered the top workers in the country and in Japan. I think, yeah, there's a realistic chance that all of them will just go straight to the main roster, maybe do NXT live events or something just to get used to the WWE style. But Cody doesn't need it. He was already there. So I think Cody for sure, and probably the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, like AJ Styles, would be exceptions to the rule. But maybe they would want to go through NXT. Who knows? I mean, maybe they feel that they would be better off going through NXT. I don't sense that, but you never know. AJ Styles himself said that he feels everyone should go through NXT first before going to the main roster. And there were things that he learned, and he had to learn really quickly when he got to the main roster, and he feels that maybe he would have been better off going through NXT first. So, who knows? It's a really hard question to answer. I don't know. This one comes from SCW Wrestling Channel. Hey Aaron, now that the rosters are beginning to take shape after the Superstar shakeup, which superstars do you think have suffered by moving/not moving? For me, the Usos have to be the top of that list for those who did not move. I would say definitely the Usos as far as SmackDown acts go. As far as Raw acts go, I feel like the top act that has suffered is Finn Balor. Finn Balor seems to be lost in the shuffle right now. Yeah, he's having matches with Braun Strowman, but I feel like Balor would have been better off with a fresh start on SmackDown. So many possibilities for Balor on SmackDown. Balor versus AJ, Balor versus Bryan, Balor versus Nakamura. So much he could have done on SmackDown that I think would have really freshened him up in WWE. Usos, I feel like if they went to Raw, well, at least there would be a credible team on Raw considering what was done on Raw this week with the B-Team barbecue. I mean, the Raw team is really lacking in quality teams right now. So yeah, I think maybe the Usos would have been better off on Raw with hindsight being 2020. They're just doing nothing on SmackDown now, and it's a real shame because just a couple months ago they were red hot, and the company is cooling them off by either keeping them off TV or when they are on TV, they're just putting over other teams. So yeah, really sucks for the Usos right now. They were doing so well, and now they're almost an afterthought. Got this one here from Dave. With SmackDown to Fox, do you see that being the end of the brand split? It seemed to me like Fox would want the guys like Braun, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor to be on SmackDown Live as well. I don't think it's the end of the brand split. I think if anything did end the brand split, it would just be Vince being tired of it and getting bored and wants to go back to a combined roster. But realistically, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon because you have such a bloated roster between Raw and SmackDown and NXT. You have so many guys under contract that if you combine the rosters, then more people are going to be lost in the shuffle and have nothing to do. At least when you have the brand extension, there's more opportunities for people to get TV time. You have people only appearing on one television show a week. See, before the brand extension started, most of the core guys were on both shows, taking up TV time on both shows. Now, you only see your favorite superstar once a week, which I think is better. I do think the brand extension is a good thing. I just feel like it needs to be treated more like a brand extension, keep these guys separate, and make Raw and SmackDown feel like they're really two separate entities as much as possible. Yes, it's all the WWE umbrella, but they need to have more of a different feel. I wish the writing was a bit different and the structure of the two shows were a bit different, so you could suspend disbelief and think, well, you know, these are two different leagues and they're really competing, and you can kind of get that feeling, which I don't have personally, and I don't think a lot of you watching this really feel that way. You don't feel like they're two separate entities. You feel like it's all one and the same, just different guys on different shows, and that's literally the only difference. Got this one here from Mr. Yuck. Where is Bayley? I mean, she needs to change. Remember when she wore a luchador mask? Could such change revamp any momentum lost on her? Well, she was on Raw this past Monday in the Gauntlet match, and I don't know what to say about Bayley that hasn't already been said. I think WWE dropped the ball on her. I think most would agree on that. I don't know if a heel turn is the solution. She needs more of an edge. She actually needs a storyline that goes through and actually has a conclusion. This Sasha Banks Bayley storyline is going nowhere fast, and I feel like it's dead in the water. So having a storyline and actually going through the storyline and turning somebody, doing something, I think would help her. But of course, turning her heel is a huge risk. Will it work? Who knows? But at the rate things are going, it doesn't look like Bayley's going to be a major factor in WWE anytime soon, if ever again, unless the company really shakes things up with her character and does something. They gotta come up with something. I don't know if wearing a lucha mask is the answer, but they gotta do something. They gotta mix it up with her and give her a bit of an edge and give her an intriguing storyline and follow through with whatever storyline you're doing with her. Got this one here from Garrett Mills. Do you see AJ Lee returning to WWE in the next 5 to 10 years? What about CM Punk? I get the CM Punk question all the time. I think one day we will see him back. When? I don't know. But I think it will happen one day. If a gun was pointed to my head and somebody said, will CM Punk go back to WWE one day? I would say yes. Just don't know when. AJ Lee, I feel like there is a possibility she'll be back one day, but it's the same thing. Will CM Punk and WWE be on good terms again? I think that will be a factor. And if she's really motivated to come back, which she seems to be happy being out of WWE and doing her own thing and living her life with CM Punk. So I don't know if she's going to come back anytime soon. It would be cool if she did come back, but I feel nothing's a guarantee at this point. But I suspect one day we will see her again in some fashion. Same thing with CM Punk. And I got this one here from TJS. Does it bother you that sometimes wrestlers take a pinfall with their eyes open? Is it the entire point to incapacitate your opponent? I think this is the first time I've gotten a question like this, so good job, TJS. I think it's fine because sometimes if you're knocked for a loop or whatever, there's a saying, the lights are on but nobody's home. You can have your eyes open, but you can still be completely out of it and not aware of what's going on. It can happen. So I really don't see a problem with it. I know back when Vince got stunned by Steve Austin for the first time and they cut a close-up of him and you could see his eyes open. I remember at the time some people complaining about that. Why does Vince have his eyes open? I actually liked it because he's stunned and he's dazed, but his eyes are open. Like I said, the lights are on, but nobody's home. So I really don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine, personally. Got this one here from Stephen Osborne. Will we ever see another First Blood match in WWE? Probably not. Unless Vince has a change of heart and decides to lift the ban on blood, I don't think so. As it is, we only see blood every once in a while, and I believe it's pretty much always done the hard way. Maybe there was 1 or 2 times where WWE secretly, purposely did blood. Who knows? It's really hard to say what's going on behind closed doors. But to do a match where there's intentional blood and market it as such, hey, we're doing a First Blood match, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't foresee it happening anytime in the near future. And it might not happen for many years. Will it ever happen again? Depends on the regime. Maybe when Triple H and Stephanie take over, maybe Triple H being that old school guy, he'll want to do a first blood match. Never say never. Maybe they'll work around it. Maybe they'll use blood capsules. Anything's possible. But I feel with Vince, and as long as Vince is in charge, I would say highly unlikely in all likelihood. So that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, tell a friend, spread the word about NoDQ Video. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Check out the other videos on the channel, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. I will see you guys next time.